This is what forestry workers fear Donald Trump's tariffs will do. Another lumber mill shut down. No wood, no workers. A fresh crisis for an industry already close to collapse, forcing communities dependent on trees to come up with new ways to survive.
And where is this going to go to then?
This will go to Texas.
John Brink is worried.
So this moment is hard for you.
It is, yeah.
What worries you the most?
A lot of people will get hurt, losing their jobs, losing their businesses. I'm not afraid of myself, but yeah, a lot of people will lose their companies, especially the small and medium size.
Brink manufactures and exports something called finger joints. It starts with unused wood from other mills, odd-shaped ends and pieces.
So what we do is this, we cut it and take 2x3s out of it. And then we glue it back together.
Yeah.
We are one of the first ones to do this in Canada.
Brink employs more than 400 people in northern BC. It's hands-on work. The wood is sorted, cut to size, then glued together, creating construction-ready lumber, much of it destined for the United States. Many of these machines are custom-built, technology Brink first learned in Holland.
My parents worked in lumber. I had seen finger jointers, and so that's why I did it here.
Brink chose to start his business in Canada because he says Canadians were his heroes. He was just 5 at the end of the Second World War. Canadian soldiers liberated his town from the Nazis.
And if I hear the President of the United States talking about Canada like it's just another state, you just speak, no respect, that bothers me.
Canada and the U.S. have long fought about lumber. These rail cars, set to go to Texas, are already subject to duty. 25% tariffs would be on top of that. Tariffs are usually paid by the importer, but not always. In this case, Brink says he will pay the bill.
Can you even keep manufacturing, having to pay those rates?
It's not viable.
New tariffs on lumber couldn't come at a worse time for British Columbia's forestry industry. A lot of companies have already packed up and moved south.
Take Canfor, one of the world's largest producers of forest products. In the last decade, it's shut down 10 of its 13 BC mills, 3 of those last year alone, including this mill in Vanderhoof, BC, ending 260 jobs. There are a couple of reasons why.
Welcome to the Southern Pine Division of Canfor.
It's simply cheaper to harvest wood in the southern states. It's warm, so trees on plantations grow fast. Wages and transportation costs are low. And the reality is, British Columbia had been operating with extra mills. 2 decades ago, production ramped way up, all to deal with damaged wood from a pine beetle infestation. That's all done now.
And we knew that at some point that allowable cut was going to go down and that some of these mills were going to have to close.
Mike Egley and his family own Del Chaco, based in Vanderhoof, population about 4,000. It's what they call a stump-to-dump operation.
Build the roads, cut the trees, skid them, process them, load them up on the trucks and haul them to the mill.
When that mill closed, the work didn't end. In fact, Del Chaco truckers now deliver logs to the Canfor mill in Prince George, more than an hour away.
Did you want to take a look at the scales? Yep. Which truck?
But Egley doesn't know for how long.
That's keeping a lot of people in town with jobs so that we can stay here, because if we all lose our jobs, well, we're all going to move and we're going to move somewhere else because we have to work.
More than 100 families are relying on your business in a volatile economic situation.
Yep.
What's that like for you?
There's only so much you can worry about, so we go to work today. And we'll worry about tomorrow when tomorrow comes. And there's some things that are out of our control and can't worry too much about.
The thing is, no one really knows what will happen if British Columbia lumber gets significantly more expensive for American customers. They could just choose to pay more.
The wood that we harvest here in BC is a top quality wood. People need it, and they need it for building homes and stuff.
In any case, the company is diversifying, taking on contracts maintaining roads to mine sites. Planning is tough.
Not knowing, should we buy more equipment to do more work, or are we going to lose our job yet? You sometimes just have to use your gut instinct on that.
We're quite aware that it's a thin string that they're hanging by, right? Tariffs make it a lot tougher.
Worrying about forestry jobs keeps Vanderhoof City Councillor Brian Frankel up at night. We met him at the lumber yard of the only mill still operating in Vanderhoof. It's operating at half capacity, just one 10-hour shift 4 days a week. The industry, he says, needs to rely less on the United States.
Our community and communities like us and our industries have to look at saying, okay, where are the other markets in the world?
So you can put those 2x4s on a ship to Japan out of Rupert?
Yes, and in fact, this sawmill has done that before.
There's another perspective, that tariffs present an opportunity to quit cutting and selling trees altogether.
What is left should be saved rather than logged.
Cameron Beck is with the environmental group Conservation North.
We are destroying the habitat for mountain caribou, grizzly, wolverine, fisher. We know we're driving those animals into extinction. What else are we driving into extinction? And what kind of impact is that going to have on our future, on the future health of our planet and of ourselves? We don't know.
He says now is the time to start a new economy, retrain workers for other industries, and leave the forest alone.
We're throwing them under the bus right now without having a plan to transition to a new economy. Maybe having to deal with this sooner rather than later is a good thing for them as well as the forest.
We have to push more of the lumber being manufactured up the value chain here.
John Brink says in order for the industry to survive the crisis, any cash the government collects from counter tariffs should go directly to companies like his.
I support Canada for repercussion, that if you collect the money from there, then distribute it back to the small and medium-sized companies that got hurt in the process to protect the jobs, even the big ones for that matter.
He has big plans, too. In fact, he wants to buy up some of those deserted mills and repurpose them to make more value-added products, not just raw lumber.
That's where the opportunities are, that's where the future is.
So do you mean actually building things, not
Yes.
shipping it away?
No, not sending it to China and they send it back to us as furniture. We should do much more here, and we can, and we have the quality.
The saying goes, from crisis comes opportunity. And the crisis the lumber industry is facing is already big and poised to get worse.